filtered down. They will not reach everyone. But I'm sure that 50% of persons living with disability get benefits from social, I would say, engagement. I want to start off with not saying 50% because you know people are, but at least a percentage. That means all I would say to government that all the programs, the initiatives, the jobs, the ministry, the what have you, if they have the planning, let them plan in mind with hiring at least a percentage. Just say we are hiring 100%. If you are hiring 100%, the 25 of those can be persons with disability. I think that will help. Yeah. Because it may take time to reach the 50%, the 50% we are talking about. I would also say that one thing that I want to divert a little bit from your question when it comes to what you said about, having young women get job training or get employed. The NCD and all organizations working for and on behalf of persons with disability, we need to set a monitoring and evaluation team to ensure that all of what we are saying here, we need accessibility, we need government to do this. How do we check to make sure that these things are happening? Do we ever go back to ensure that all of what we say has been applied? Once we do with this program, until next year, December 3rd or December 7th, we probably will not do anything about disability. So, a strong monitoring and evaluation team is important for us to be able to achieve many of what we are saying here today. So, again, coming back to my question, how do we get at least 50% here? So, 50% persons with disability in Liberia. Government should integrate the requirement into social protection programs, implement targeted economic and educational initiatives, and establish a strong monitoring and evaluation system that partners with organizations. Because in the absence of monitoring and evaluating our work, we will never know whether we achieve or we are not achieving. You understand what I'm trying to say? That is why in the UN and other organizations, the monitoring and evaluation team, because they check on what is happening. So what is changing to this with accessibility? Has anyone ever wanted to see whether this is down there? The last time I was invited to LBS for an interview, and I couldn't extend the test because there were no ramp. They did not have a room either downstairs for people with disability. And I walked straight to Eugene Park. I said, Eugene, I see I'm constructing a new building. I'm here today for an interview, but I cannot enter your building because there's no way I can enter. He promised that, if you building, we want to make sure we have accessibility. So who goes back there to make sure Eugene is actually showing that there is a ramp or there is something in the ocean or roof there downstairs? So I think that would be one of the key aspects of getting a 50% or some percentage beneficial or when the monitoring and evaluation team is in place.
Great, thank you so much.
And they should be composed of persons with disability as well.
I worked at LBS for almost 10 years. I know that I got really tough times at times trying to get people with disabilities in the studio. At that point, was the whole studio. So I understand. I know exactly what it is. So I hope that the management will be able to take that into consideration. But we need fact check on these developments that are taking place across Liberia. We also need checklists from SE also to be able to consider. Don't like happy before you say you solve it. Find it and make sure that they do it. You should probably have some conversation with the Ministry of Public Works or probably here to make sure that people are doing construction that is monitoring interior building design. You look at and say, what's the component for PWDs? Do you have roads? Do you have elevators to make sure that they have access easily? I mean, it's quite important. So I know we time is fast spent, but I think the news are doing some report on the issue of social protection. Yeah, I have a representative from the Ministry of General.
My name is Josiah Demon. I'm the Director for Social Protection. Sorry, I was talking to the government house and said, for the community platform and the planners. But we are here to represent the ministry. And the issue of disability is everyone of our concern. As a ministry, one of our functions is to promote the inclusiveness of persons with disability. So for the ministry administrating social protection, disability, and equity, our system on the ARD is the education and social protection pillar is no longer fragmented. That mode is adaptive, is sharp responsive, and is central for the person with disability. For example, the Real Project, we are working with them so that the social ministry, they are going to enroll all persons with disability. Then we have a complete database of them. And just in case there's a program for partners to help our persons with disability, we will not be going out there to be looking for data. So we have the ministry. We want to extend the international days of persons with disability on the celebration, but we stand ready to support people in whatever way. As our mother was speaking, these are some of our advocacies about public and private building, because they need to be accessible to persons with disability. You cannot build a building where you not have the ground to allow people to go there and access. For example, even if you have a business upstairs and that person wants to purchase something, you have to, he or she go there to access that goods. So we take that point also, we are going to add to our advocacy as well. As we speak, through the President Professional Program, the ministry is now hosting a person with disability in the gender department. She is there, we are sent there to work in the gender department. It's part of our effort, as we speaking about inclusiveness. We need to include these people. They are our own brothers and sisters, they are our children, they are our mommy. We need to work along with them. Now we take most of the time, the minister extend our needs, and stand ready to collaborate with partners, all international organizations to promote inclusiveness at all levels in order to reduce the level of marginalization of our district community. Thank you ever so much for having me.
Great. So while we're also talking about the issue of protection, social protection, we're also talking about investment, right? Also talking about jobs. And the National Investment Commission is also here. They wanted to make some input because there are companies in Liberia, there are investment in Nigeria that also need to have PWDs in their employed, like he made it very clear that there are more information gaps in terms of your applicant, especially the person who wants a job, what status they are in as PWDs. So the person responsible for investment promotion is the director. Then in Maxwell Junior is here, so we just tip in a little bit on that. Put your hands together for me.
Good morning, everybody. I'm excited to be here. Yes. Excellent. My name is Daniel Maxwell. I am the director for investment promotions at the National Investment Commission. I bring you greetings from our chairman, Honorable Jeff Olivo, who's out of the country, and our executive director should be here, but then he's representing the chairman at cabinet meeting today. So I'm here representing the man who's supposed to represent the other man. And I'm excited to be here, both professionally but also personally. I want to tell you a quick story why I say personally. It's May 17, 2018. I had a long day at work. My office was on Ashland Street at the time. And I leave work at about 6:30 or so p.m. My car is in the garage, but I'm not feeling too well. So I'm like, okay, let me walk on Mecklin Street to get medicine. I'm walking on Mecklin Street by Finance Ministry. I get a phone call. I'm walking on the sidewalk and I'm on the phone. The only thing I heard from in front of me, whoa! Before I could come to myself, I was already in the hole. Those holes like the open places on the street. For the next 6 months, I used crutches. I experienced what it was to be a person with disabilities. And even till today, I still got issues with my knee. So I understand. Before then, it was theoretical. But that experience made me live what many of you with physical disabilities go through. And it's no fun. And so I've been fortunate since then to play a very small part in working with persons with disabilities. Anybody here from Newark? Or Newark? Okay. I know you. But I've done some work in Aspects, I've done some work with IFO, and it's not much. Progress is slow, but progress is being made. At the National Investment Commission, what we are excited about is to work with NCD and let's give it up for Mr. Dave because he is one force to reckon with. You know, there are challenges with accessibility, there are challenges with access. You know, access is one thing, accessibility is the other. And unfortunately, even those of us that work in government, sometimes we don't have access to our colleagues in government. And so he struggles with access and he struggles with accessibility. But despite all of that, he still pushes on for everyone in the community. And so at the NIC, what we're looking forward to doing is to work with the NCD to do a few things. One, Mrs. Williams mentioned, to experience economic impact, you must have value that you bring to the table. And education is key in that space. Skills. So it doesn't just have to be academic or vocational. When it comes to companies who express interest to invest in Liberia or those who are currently investing in Liberia, the question is, what skills do persons with disability bring? Because we do not want to continue to perpetuate the narrative of charity case. Because it's not about charity, it's about economic inclusion, and inclusion means giving and receiving. So what we want to do first is to establish what skill sets do we have in the community of persons with disability, from administrative to technical. And then our team, as the investment promotion team, will begin to do mapping and matching. If we have an investor that is going to require, obviously all investors will require HR services, right? Human resource services. If we have an HR professional, you don't even have to have a degree. You can be an HR assistant and start from there and continue your studies. If we have accountants, project managers, these are skills that can be executed with limited physical effort. All right. Now I know there are challenges, especially for those of us who are visually impaired. The idea of using Braille and incorporating Braille in our offices is not there yet. But this is what all of these events are about. So I want to congratulate you as you celebrate PWD, and I want to re-echo what Mrs. Williams said. I'm just sitting in the back and listen. It shouldn't just be December. You celebrate your person with disability, and then from January to November is the story as the same. While we look out for survival, let's also look out for legacy. While we try to find how to start a day, let's also find ways by which the generations that will come after us, if they should find themselves in a position of disability, that they don't experience the challenges that we are experiencing now. So again, on behalf of our chairman, Jeff Blibo, the executive director, Melvin Cherry, I want to congratulate you on your celebration, and I want to assure you of the NIC's full commitment in working with the National Commission on Disability to improve living standards for persons with disability. Thank you very much.
Thank you for the opportunity to be here. When time is lasting, I want us to do some purchase because of flow, but I think we have two more partners to go. Yeah, we got two more partners to
keep firing. Still here, this is Science Liberia, the International Day of Persons with Disabilities dialogue currently ongoing here at the EJS Ministerial Complex. So you have the participants, persons living with disabilities, and you also have so thank you for following. Still here, keep sharing the video with others, to share the broadcast. You have Moses Kazewu, BBC correspondent to Liberia, who is serving as one of the facilitator here as well.
So let's work together, support our leaders, so that whatever gets there, it will be for the good of all. Thank you very much.
So, just to first thank you for listening. Let me say this, whether you are persons with or without disabilities, nothing comes easy. You have to strive. You have to try. And you have to keep trying. But I think the government needs to do more from the close of this. NC needs to do more. especially Ministry of Gender. We have had series of challenges with them as part of the party comment. The number of people employed at Ministry of Gender, I'm not sure, especially with disability, I'm not sure they can reach 10. I'm not even sure of that. And if you have the responsibility for social protection, your programs, your intervention, your everything should be inclusive. It should not be something that you consider, it should be something that's part of you. So we want gender to reconsider our program. We want Ministry of Education, you check the national budget, there's nothing there for inclusive education. If it's there, we are not sure. We want them to be intentional about disability. Let them make sure that we should not be running behind it. Our president has served persons with disability, so disability is his priority. So we shouldn't be begging Ministry of Education, begging Ministry of Gender, say support us, say support us. Let them do it. Thank you.
Thank you. I know we have some here, but we will give them the opportunity to talk about the program is still ongoing. The JJ is here, so they themselves will come later to give us a bit of So I want to say thank you to Mr. Thomas K. Brown and Mrs. Williams for coming. I almost got you problem from the beginning of this panel. My name is Moses. I'm still with you here at the program. Put your hands together for yourself. Great. I mean, the discussion was good, right? The discussion was good, right? Okay. So, we're going to have our next panel, but before the next panel comes up, I'd like to say thank you to the last panel. I mean, the discussion were very inclusive. I hope that all the points discussed, gender will help for the government to take it very seriously because of making sure there's equity, creating protection for persons with disabilities. The National Commission on Disabilities, today, I hope you can also take note. Don't wait for it to happen. Make sure you correct it before it happens, because they say what is done to be or done can be hard, right? But before it is done, when you can make an improvement, it helps a lot. So our next panel, this is not going to be long. Our next panel is about inclusive climate action and green jobs for PWDs. Inclusive climate action for PWDs. So our panelists are Mr. Z. Elijah Wapo, National Coordinator, National Climate Change Secretariat. Mr. Wapo here? Okay. Put your hands together for Mr. Wapo.
This is another session,
and of course, Mr. Moses Massa, Executive Director,
Mr. Wapo, who is the Executive Director for Climate Change in Liberia. Besides Liberia, and from EJS Ministerial Complex here in Congo Town.
So, in brief profile, Mr. Wapo worked for the EPA in Liberia as the National Coordinator for the National Climate Change Secretariat. Mr. Wapo leads Liberia climate policy coordination, including the development of the National Carbon Market Framework. You know, we want to make money outside of the iron ore and rubber. Yeah, so now we won't get money for our carbon market. Climate change law and national determined contribution updates. That is what we take to the world to say this is our document.
we are protecting the climate because we have some reserve forest that is doing carbon emissions, so you got to give a certain amount of money, or this is our national policy as a national established contribution. So in 2025, spearheaded stakeholder dialogue on carbon credits, benefit sharing, and green climate fund readiness, emphasizing intersectoral collaboration for sustainable adaptation and mitigation. So it means that, yeah, he's going to tell us something about inclusion, how everyone is inclusive in this development, including PWD. So a brief profile of Mr. Moses Massa is the Executive Director, Champion for Climate Conservation Liberia, a veteran environmental advocate and former LNJ and environmental manager at UNDP Liberia. We got another UNDP person here. Mr. Massa founded the NGO in 2023 to combat deforestation, promote biodiversity conservation, and foster sustainable livelihood in local communities. His recent initiative focused on urban greening, anti-deforestation campaigns, and integrated conservation with climate resilience, drawing on decades of experience in policy advocacy and community empowerment. Welcome to the panel.
So, I learned first no secret. Mr. Wapo relatively walked to LPS to find me. When he saw me, he asked me for Moses Gato. I said, what are you looking for him for? He said, I just need to see him. So, when I said this is Moses Gato, he said, no, I'm leaving. He said, I thought I'm a class, but I mean, he's a down-to-earth person. So, he's willing to this for the rest of his life. So we're talking, well, the other hand, the other part, we are just small. There goes my knowledge. But don't worry, I'm going to say that you run away. So we're talking about inclusive climate action and employability of persons with disabilities. So first, how does it work? How can people living with disabilities benefit from inclusive climate action? That's my obvious question for both of them.
Thank you very much, Moses. Pleasure meeting you. I've been hearing Moses get in touch, big mess. So, thank you. Pleasure meeting you. Thank you very much for inviting us to this program. You know, when I got in touch with Lady Luther, Luther has a message from me saying that asking me whether I've received an invitation to come to the panel here. Fortunately, they have sent the invitation to UNDP, where I work and was retired in December. Rebecca and I was retired the same day, the same month after she stayed here, so I'm happy to also see her here. But I also served the US for about 18 years, working in the area of climate energy conservation. So when I received this invitation, I was happy to come and contribute. And the discussion is about why are people with disabilities excluded into conservation climate change projects. But you see, when we get this kind of opportunity to come as environmentalists, we also like to pass on information. So before we get to that question, let me just tell you the climate context. Climate change affects every one of us, but it does not affect us equally. In Liberia, people
people living with disabilities are among the groups most at risk. Yet they are often the least visible in national climate conversation. PWDs are most often not considered during project development and implementation. I am also guilty of that during our first work at UNDP, but at last we begin to give some attention to people living with disabilities. I remember quite well when our small grant program is working on the UNDP, and we deliberately decided to give some of our grants to people living with disabilities. And we did that. We gave a project to some disability group camp on the hill, and they did very well. That was the first, but in Wanyama also, we deliberately gave an agriculture project to a disability group, and it did well. So the with disabilities, people living with disabilities cannot implement projects. It's not true. We only need to be very, very selective and build their capacity. So in terms of economic context, in Liberia, one of the serious economic issues that we are facing that affect disabilities include the rising sea level. Those of us that live around coastal areas, the coast or the sea is eating our area, and most often people are moving, including places like West Point, Newtown, Canada, and Latin Street. People are always moving. We are also experiencing heavier rainfall. And you know, when rainfall is flooding, most often people living with disabilities are seriously hit. In the interior, we are also experiencing at some time prolonged dry season, which is making it difficult for crops to grow. In some cases, the rain is too much, crops are not growing. So that also makes it difficult for people living with disabilities. We also have issues of storms in Liberia. Across Liberia, storms are causing problems. But for many of us who are able, these disruptions are difficult. But for people with disabilities, they can be life-threatening. So, today let me just tell you some of the barriers then that
I think we will go through that. It was just an introduction. Yeah. Also, maybe Mr. Wapo can just give us climate action employees related to person with disability or from your own context.
Okay, thank you. I will answer the question. So that was very great. And when I saw it on my rent, well, when it comes to climate issue, environmental issue, like Mr. Marshall put in, they got a principle called common but differentiated responsibility. That one I thought not big, it means that the same thing is climate change cannot get pulled up. Or the way it affects it, not the same way. So it can affect some people more than other people. And one group of people can affect more than people living with disability. Some of the reason why this is true is because of increased vulnerability. The places they live, because they not get plenty of money, they live in places that are, climate risk area. So like that, it gives them hazard. So, but the environmental protection management law, you will not clearly say this is how people living with disabilities should be, but they got 5 principles, and some of those principles include people living with disability. Take for example, intergenerational equity. From generation to generation, environmental protection should involve them all. When it comes to the principle of public participation, Then exclude people living with disability. So people living with disability are included. For one thing that is not clear, no land in our law that clearly spell how they are informed. Let me try to fair God through you to speak. Yeah? So that I am looking for when we go to the principle of environmental protection, they are included. So because of that, it can make it difficult, very difficult when it comes to employment. Some of those reasons will leave there, but there are areas that we can incorporate people living with disability. When you're talking about disaster risk preparedness, it could have taken into consideration then the issue that we discussed, that it affects them more, climate change affects them more. When they are involved in disaster preparedness, it will be easier for them to be, involved in jobs that are related to that area. Then when it comes to information, dissemination, decision making, if you include them, it will make it easier for them to get jobs. That's true. Because, take for example, the Environmental Protection Agency is not big for all 15 counties. We do not have more than 5% living with disability. I know that the Jeff in the central office is visually impaired. He's employed. He's on a very key committee. The desk that's responsible for complaint when it goes to the EDU Senate, Jeff is part of it. So there are areas, there are intelligence that these people have, if they not have the ability we have to move around. So they have space in climate change arena. I mean, in production, I just want to let you know that the law requires that the 5 principles I made mention I talked to that capture their involvement, intergenerational equity, and public participation. In fact, the law that brought the Environmental Protection Agency says that everybody should be involved in the management of the environment in Nigeria. So the ANC is not there.
I just want you to keep that microphone. So let's talk about the green economy. When we say green economy, strategy means that making sure that making farm will also spoil the environment. Making farm also will help to also preserve the plain living. Making farm will also make sure that there will be sufficient rainfall. The rainfall will not be too much to destroy. So that's the green economy. So the EPA and other agencies make sure that they're championing that among all of us. But how can the agency best partner with organizations for persons with disabilities to ensure that climate adaptation projects in the green job opportunity are designed to fully be accessible for persons with disabilities? Visually impaired people do not just because people who have physical disability.
Well, thank you. One thing to include people living with disability, money follows plan. Plan does not follow. So the first thing to do is to include them in the planning processes. When you include people with disability, it will be easier to include them in programs that allow them, especially when you make mention of the green economy. Green economy also consider green corridor as well. Not just farming.
Yeah, it's important. In our culture, when we say our green economy, almost talking about making our garden and making our farms. Yeah, so
that's correct. Even beautifying your cities and all can be that. So a way to, like I mentioned, a way to improve them is to get them involved in the planning processes. Take for example, the carbon policy you did mention of, when we are developing the carbon policy, every country we went to, there are a group of people living with disability. We show that they be part of it because their voices need to be heard. So that the planning processes. Then we had exclusive interaction with young people living with disability, and we made complete dialogue in Monrovia. We had a dialogue beside the country intervention. So we have exclusive dialogue for them. So what you can do, there are various ways, there are technology. You need to adapt adaptive technology technology that enable people living with disability to participate in green economy, like you make it very easy to include farming, gardening, and even the green corridor I made mention of. These technologies are available. That somebody, for example, who is not able to move like their way and walk up here can get involved in gardening. Those adaptive capacity, it will employ them, it will enable them to participate in that. Another way you can do that is to allow them to use the principle of public participation for information dissemination on that particular subject. Say farming. Yesterday we were in senior management team and we received previously communication from 2 young people living with disability for their school and their rank. But it's good to teach people how to fish rather than educate fish. So when the system though it was given, but the discussion yesterday was how can we get involved to disseminate information. And they are involved in disseminating the information, they get paid for it as well. In that way, they are included in that. So you're talking about agriculture programs, you know, how you can safely manage our farm, how you can do green corridor, not deadening your street and planting trees. Same deal with not somebody that's visually impaired, not visually plant trees, but can he participate in disseminating information? That's the way you can do it. Okay, that's the technique market just yesterday, coincidentally, that is one way that they included, and then that repeated course will be on this manner. So those are some ways that get included, that agree on the people living with disabilities, including physically involving in work for those. I've seen my aunt was physically challenged. Those of you that are age, you used to see one old lady sitting on ground and round the street there in wheelchair repeatedly. She just died 3 years ago. But she could make gardening. She pushed a weed and go and plant a garden in stock eggs. She would go and fetch your pepper from there to ensure that and to clean the runoff and make it a decent thing. So your disability does not mean lack of ability to perform.
Okay, great. So I know, so thank you, Mr. Wambo. Samantha, you were speaking about the barriers. What has your boss spoke about they've been working in terms of making sure that there's a bit of activity that means having PWDs involved in some of the consultation or developing some of the climate policies for Liberia. But conservation and climate project often, if not all of the time, PWDs aren't involved on it at most times. But what are those barriers that you think? I know now you're in advocacy jacket, but you were also developing position at the point. Barriers that you notice that is out of PWDs what is the first product concept changes these organizations can make in removing those barriers, maybe like an EPA with the national body? Hello? Hello? Can we have one room, please? Okay.
Thank you very much. There may be several barriers, but let me discuss with you 6 top barriers that actually stop people with disabilities from getting involved in conservation and environmental projects. From my experience as someone who has been in the sector very long, 6 key barriers. And the first barrier is the physical inaccessibility of project sites and meetings. The physical inaccessibility of sites, project sites, and meetings. You know, many of our project sites, community hall, are inaccessible. So even as projects, when we want to take people with disabilities there, it becomes a burden for us. Because maybe what we have not done, as I mentioned earlier, is to include these things during the formulation of projects. Because if you have developed a project and you are at implementation, and then you want to take someone with disability to a project site, he or she will need special attentions. You will need assistive devices, and you do not have the money for that allocated in the project, and that makes it really difficult. So going forward, I think what needs to be done in that light is to ensure that we build accessible meeting sites and provide transport. But again, this would mean that we have to include that in our project budget. The second gap barrier that I noticed is the inaccessible communication and information, and several other speakers have talked about that. Project information, warning or training are often delivered in formats that PWD can't use. So that becomes difficult. Most of our workshops we handle, unfortunately, we don't have this kind of opportunity to have sign language, because we did not include it in the project formulation. I'm sure the brother that is doing this, and he's doing it for his colleague, but he will need compensation. And if you didn't include that in your project budget, you cannot charge it, you cannot cost it, because if you go to the donor, they will question you. So, these kind of communication issues are very, very serious. So going forward, what we need to do as NGOs and those that are developing programs, we need to provide sign interpreters, simple pictorial materials, and large prints of braille to accommodate our sisters and brothers. The third top priority that exclude PWD from most of our conservation and environment projects is transport and cost barriers. Transport to meetings or field work and the cost of assistive devices create real exclusion. So again, I mean, this is just, once you address that in your project formulation and there are money, you can provide special transport for them. But in most cases, these are not done, so it's difficult to do it during the implementation. Another is the negative attitude and the stigma and the expectations. Community members and project staff may assume or sometimes assume that PWD can contribute meaningfully. But as I told you, I don't think this is right. My two experiences with working with PWD at UNDP prove otherwise. The one we work with in Wanyama on the agriculture project and the ones that are up here in Jacob Town, they show otherwise. PWD can contribute meaningfully to project implementation once we consider them in our project implementation. And the lack of project design and participation mechanisms. PWDs are rarely invited to planning or decision making, so their needs aren't considered. When we go to develop projects, call project formulation meeting, most often PWDs are not there. And so when we go to implement, then it becomes difficult for us to even know their needs. And lastly, one of the top priorities that exclude PWDs from environment and conservation projects is the lack of data and representation. Somebody mentioned this before. The project often lack the disability large disability and disaggregated data, so planners estimate the needs. We don't really have good data of PWDs. What scale they have, what scale they need, we don't have it. So that when it comes to even national planning needs, they are most often underestimated. The costs attached to addressing PWD issues are underestimated because there are no data. And you know, the budget developer will not make mistakes to overestimate. They always make mistakes to underestimate. So these are the issues. And the fellow for the ministry said it right, and he said they are making some steps or taking some steps to address that. We need to have good data on PWD, what their abilities are, what skills they need, and how can they be used. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. I think you safety principles. I mean, one that struck me at the closing point is we need data. Data will inform how the benefits will trickle down or how preparations are made for PWDs in Liberia. But Mr. Wapo, how can the EPA be able to work closely with the disability community on climate policy that reflects the need and contribution of persons with disabilities? You admitted that you got less people working at EPA.
One thing, by tomorrow, the National Climate Change Steering Committee that comprises government, private institutions, development partners, NGOs, will be meeting at 5:30 p.m. tomorrow in the Ministry of Finance and Development Planning. So I'm mentioning this to say that one way that can be done is to ensure that there are people living with disability are represented on the National Climate Change Steering Committee. That's one way to be able for that, because we are revising the National Climate Change Policy and Reform Strategy, and that's a document that identifies who is supposed to be a member of the National Climate Change Policy and the Steering Committee. So push for that. And another way that another area that you can ensure that you are included. Because remember, Mr. Massa made mention of budget planning processes that fail to take into consideration, people living with disability. And that agrees with what I said from the beginning, that plan follow money. Money follows plan, not plan follow money. So when money follows plan. So when it's not done, if you challenge, then it's, we get budget for that. We get budget to include you. But then what do you do? First, another area that I want you to push for is advocate to establish inclusive climate action fund. Inclusive climate action fund. What it requires is
how can you help these different organizations to make sure that this happens?
Take it down first, then we'll go to how I can help. That means talking this too. And I'll be talking it. And I ain't telling you to talk it. I know that you need it, that's why I'm telling you. And I'm the coordinator for the Secretariat, the working arm, the steering committee. I'll be reporting tomorrow to them. So if the policy consultation will be carried on, if, for example, the National Commission on Disability Rights and say that we need to be part of the steering committee, I will take care of the report to them. That's my job is. Now, we are also developing climate change fund in Liberia, a program to develop fund that will be inclusive of climate change and conservation in Liberia. There's a conservation fund, but we need that, holistic funding mechanism. So in that funding mechanism, I'm asking you, which also I will participate in, please advocate to establish disability inclusive climate action fund. Disability Inclusive Climate Action Fund. And the final thing is, through the government, through your lawmaker, please advocate for the national accessibility standard. Let me emphasize on that. In Liberia, we also have building standard, building food. When you are building, how the building is going to be, how wiring is going to be, and so forth. So when you advocate for national accessibility, standard, they will not be that in where you come from adding one to it. What Mr. Master was talking, there will be standard when you are establishing public building. That standard requires that this be done. So when that's supposed to be done, they will consult some of you, so that you can be part of the program to ensure that your representation, access to public building is completely inclusive. In that way, you are included in the job area. And we will take it and put it into our ESIA program, environmental impact assessment, so that it becomes a criteria when we go to check. If it becomes a standard, we will use a standard at the level of environmental impact, social status, and ensure that that happens. If that is to happen, somebody living with disability that has the knowledge will be able to be employed. So there are various ways. So I mentioned 3 points. Advocate for inclusion at the National Climate Change Steering Committee. If you send a letter to me, I'll carry and report it. Now, how can help? Nobody will say, I can help. And I use it. You send a letter to him, knows how to do it. You send it, I'll take it and go report it. Whatever we can be. Then, the climate fund. Let there be in National Climate Fund, it should be an establishment there where you have disability inclusive climate fund, so that it can help you to have to adapt to the changes that we are talking about. Then talk about national, standard for accessibility in any facility around. When that standard is established, your public will use it, and the Environmental Protection Agency will use that standard to assess and ensure that this comply with the environmental standard, which improves the accessibility standard. In that way, it creates avenue for your involvement. And those are plans. And when those plans are established, money will follow them. I work for the National Climate Change Secretariat with all of you together. I'm seated at the EPA. I work for EPA holistically before in various capacities, including being controller, administrator, planning and policy director, and so forth. But now I work for the National Climate Change Steering Committee as the head of secretary. So this information you get there, you send it, my video will be, I'll be throwing a rock and hiding my hand. They will not know that we're not talking.
I hope you took note, right? Is that it? I hope you took note. You take note too when you forget, you remind you. You remind you too when you forget, right? Great, you need to take note. I know we're coming close to the end of this panel, but I'd like to go onto the floor now. Do we have questions? So, we can take at least 5 because we have one more panel to go before we can call this a day on this. Mr. D will be the last one. No? That's a lot of people in talk.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Luther, please come take the microphone around.
I beg you, my people. The statement is person with disability, or people with disability, not people living with disability. If you say people living with disability, that means you are looking at the disability of that person, but you are not looking at the person in particular. Thank you.
Yeah.
This is found out from Nigeria. I waiting for home. Supplying Nigeria. I see my letter in your office. My letter will be accepted on the spot, or it takes some days or some months. My letter request will be accepted. The EPA.
He wants to come again. He wants to work with the EPA. So if he sends his letter at the EPA, how long it will take? Okay. Can we will come in? That will finish next time. Will come answer yes. Please take note on the question.
So my name is Sally Yembe. I'm here with Batkin on behalf of the Director General representing the National Lottery Authority. So my question or comment is to the first panelist. The lady talked about monitoring, which are talking into it.
Sir?
Yeah.
Maybe we'll give an opportunity later on for remarks while we close in these sections.
Yeah, but
then you can be the one to make that. But let's go straight into this panel.
This second section.
Yeah, let's
the question is the question. That's okay.
Okay, great.
Yeah, but because there was no opportunity.
Yeah. We got somebody in the middle here.
Her name is Lapu. She's a hard of hearing person. She thank you so much for what you have discussed. Like you mentioned about the interpreters or sign language, all right? How interpreters should be paid when they render services. Now, we as deaf people, we face a lot of problems. Now, there are times we go to the courts and the interpreters are not available because we can't pay them. Sometimes we go to other places, we don't have interpreters there. And sometimes our deaf women or organizations or associations, we lack interpreters. Because the problem there is, there are many problems. We don't have money, we don't have them, we are poor people. So then, now, how do we forward this when it comes to the environmental protection? Because sometimes in our own community, we see people throwing garbages or filth right by our windows, and because we are deaf people, we talk and then they shout at us, they shout at us. So what do we do in that life? Alright? So, I'm begging you, what you discussed is very important, Mr. Massa, right? It's very, very important. I think I understood everything that you said, and your point was granted. So, for now, I want to tell you thank you, so that as you have said it, please work on it. Yes, it's very important. Thank you, Mr. Luka.
Okay. Please take the gentleman on the nose mask. I hope you are taking note, right? Great. So we'll take 5 questions, then we'll break. Yeah, go ahead.
Thank you very much. Okay, let's kudos to the panelists. They spoke exceedingly well, and it's very important for the angle of this talking point in regards to climate change and benefits for us as persons with disabilities. My name is Pastor Isibe Afena Clark, and I work for the Liberia Ability Society. So, my attention has been drawn to the discussion, and it's very essential in regards to the state and context that we bear as a person of ability, which is very vulnerable to the ultraviolet extent of climate change in regards to the high increase of the sun rays. So here's my question. How can climate change policy be made more disability inclusive, especially to address the increased ultraviolet and heat-related rays faced by persons with disability as total persons of ability? Thank you very much.
Thank you. Heat-related. Come here.
My name is Nene G2 from Nibakante. I want to appreciate our presenter talking about climate change. My question is, are you willing to work with people with disability in countries, or you really working in most of right now?
Great. Yeah, we're back there. The gentleman with the key.
All right. In Jesus' mighty name, I put our second and thanks for the appreciation to the doctor on behalf of the My name is Leopold, and this is our question. This statement goes to the government of the Republic of Liberia. My appeal to the government is that all institutions and government places should involve one disabled person or visually impaired person in their office for them to appeal or advocate on behalf of the visually impaired people or the disabled community attacks.
Thank you. I think that was a comment. So we want to continue waiting for you. Okay. All right. Yeah. So that would be the
All right.
question.
Good afternoon, everybody. I listen to all of the panelists. I don't know if you hear me. Okay, I have some suggestions to make. I know many a time we try to please our leaders. When Mr. Baga is coming over, or President Baga is coming over and he sees me as Bamuma, he becomes embarrassed and calls the gender minister. Because she wants to please him with regards to saying as Bamuma, and my son is not in school, they do some sort of a hustle arrangement. In short, my education is coming in the of safety net. In my mind, the way they explain is haphazard and it will not really benefit the disabled community. So what I want to suggest first, the commission in that of the gender administration should first begin to have somebody talking about it. Let it be a complete database for us. In that, it will also make us to know how our budget would be, how would it factor in the national budget, because by then you know how many people are disabled and have reached some level of retirement for which their children should be benefited on, maybe some kind of that the American people do before they die. Stamp something where they can do food and all that kind of thing. One, I also want to appeal to the investment commission. Not because they say business concern, so we should concede to these investors out of what? Laziness and simply because we are trained. Fire is a classical example. We suffer for almost 99 years on fire soon. And this thing is still lingering whenever concessions are made. They do not take into account that indeed within the concession here and all the other things, we have more strength and power than them. Atlantic is now here. Bombing Hill turning to bombing holes. So please, when these concessions are made, let us take into account that our national resources benefit us. And that just simply because you want to have an investment. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Please, we'll take another round of questions, but please, we're not taking comments, we're taking questions on the presentations today, right? I don't want somebody to say they took a microphone from them. I know you have all of the opinions. They will get everybody a chance here with the microphone to say whatever on their heart. Everybody got different appeals and whatever. So let's just ask the questions as the panelists is seated here, so they can be able to respond to you. Please, I beg you, able together? Yeah. Okay, good. Yeah.
Kamasa, you want to go first, right? You took down the questions? Okay, great. So you can address this question of somebody spoke about the nobody asked about the environmental pollution when they're shown away, and you are an advocate and activist on that.
Thank you very much. I have not only been working in development, but I'm also a part-time lecturer of environmental planning and management. And one of the things we reviewed there. Okay, the question she asked is she normally experience a lot of pollution in their communities. And they talk, nothing happens. Probably people look down on them because they are disabled. But I want to expose her and give her another platform that she can go to. And this is being backed by the Environmental Protection and Management Law. We have Environmental Protection and Management Law. And that law gives every citizen the right to a clean environment. And if that is violated, anyone in your community violate that, or any household, you have the right to take that person to the EPA. At the EPA, there is a platform there where you can document your complaint on a form, and the EPA by law is under obligation to come to that place with their inspectors, investigate and do something about it. So if you are talk and nothing is happening, go to the EPA and ask for the inspectorate or the compliance department, and they will address it. I have done it before. I have tested it, and it worked. So you don't have to fight them, but you are backed by the law. You can take the complaint to maybe my colleague here will add to that.
Yes, you are right. And when you do that, EPA will intervene. It requires that they take action, they will do it. When they fail to do that, EPA, you can use EPA as a platform to even sue. So the law will protect you. So that is that. Then I want to take some of the questions, like my brother here say, if he applies, say he from Nigeria, for example, he apply whether the application will be accepted. Now we have Nigeria office, but there are some limited requirements of being inspector. If you're talking about inspector, then there are some requirements. But there are provisions to do other work other than being inspector. If you have the ability, even though you are somebody with disability, there are provisions. And if you do apply, you will be assessed. I think you will have a reason to be given consideration if, like I mentioned, in the plan and the money there. So when we advocate for a plan to be developed, the money will be there and the opportunity will happen. Now, climate change policy to protect people, like people that they have been in the community. You know, we have a national ozone unit at the EPA. And you know, one of the thing we have done is to develop a lot of awareness material and help institutions to carry on education, like the MVDC, a lot of vocational training institutions, including university. So what the law does is to ensure that chemicals that affect the ozone. The big sky you see up here, Baba chemical, they can eat it. And when they eat it, like you have a endocrine stomach, the big intestine, you can clean it with that. They have the ozone layer, that big sky look like that. The chemical can eat it like cleaning it. Then it make it light. When the sun comes, it can pass through that what you're talking about. So those chemicals and things that can come to do like that without law, working with law enforcement officers, including the custom people to stop it. Break it down, EPA now, same thing they bring like that back. We have a case, they got to repatriate that, send it back to Europe. In quite recent time, they did the same thing. People are bringing back chemical that will cause that problem. It was tracked and sent back to the place it comes from. So the best thing we can do is to ensure that those harmful substances, other in refrigerant, those refrigerant gases that are harmful, we ban them. And we are working along with law enforcement officers. You're not coming by, you can see me. No, wait a minute. So you must not dialogue.
You're responding to us, right?
Yeah,
so we're not
dialogue.
Ask a question.
I can hear you ask a question for a second, talk from here.
Yeah, so I mean you can have.
So we have a lot of policy framework that protect that, and the Environmental Protection Agency does not work as an institution. It works along with all, including citizens. Some of those chemicals are talking about that people can see them and let us know, and will make sure that they are arrested. So they are policy to protect the depletion of the ozone layer. And none of them ask questions, none of them do ask me. I'll answer you that. We don't work in the environment was not a cut across. That's why some of the program we include people like you in it. And so the best thing to do. So three behind the whole thing we talk here. I talk about including you people at the policy level, developing standard and all. When that one happen at that big play, somebody will be sitting down there every 3 months. We'll be talking the issue of environment. It will be easy to maintain because when they are the steering committee, they can be part of the EP executive director. And when they say a lot do the disaster preparedness information or the forestry issue, it will be easy for it to come down to be implemented. So that I'm gonna advise to all of you behind the hall. When you come, I will take it that I am talking. Thank you.
Okay, quick information, Mr. Wapo has a steering committee meeting, you need to go for it. So I wish we were taking more questions and inquiries on this, but I'd like them to close some of their closing statements. We have a video to screen and also we have one more panel to go. And we have lunch to go for. You don't want to go for lunch? No, oh, okay, great. Okay, so yeah, you can close up, Mr. Wapo.
Yeah. So, thank you. To tell you the thing I thought I needed, my WhatsApp number, I'm giving you my WhatsApp number. My WhatsApp number that here I can give 0886 I think so. 524 657 0886-524-657. I can't go on Facebook with me, so you put anything that I can't see it quick. You call me, I will answer, I will return. But when you send me WhatsApp, I respond to it faster. So, like my brother from the Abeno community, you can engage on that, and any of you who are specific, you can send it. If you get an even recommendation, a dean or somebody from the office, send it to my WhatsApp and I see when we finish submitting it. I will take it from there and carry it to the steering committee meeting. I'm very happy because you're coming, you're taking plenty. You get it no more than a D1. I am Sir Elijah Wapo. there. Just call me Wapo. Forget what is there. You know. 0886 524 657. You dial and text me on WhatsApp, you will see.
Thank you. Mr. Master, your closing statement.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. I'd like to close.
Hello, can we have one room? We're almost there. Can we have one room, please?
I'd like to close with these few words for all of us. I'd like to close with these few words to all of us, but the noise is behind there.
Hello? Hello? Can we respect the panelists, please? I know we can do better, man.
The climate change issues are global. Climate change is here with us, and we all need to take steps. So, persons with disabilities are not excluded when it comes to climate issues. It's a human rights issue. So, climate justice, including the rights, requires no one to be left behind. And most of us are guilty of that, as I said earlier. And we want to pledge that going forward, even in our new capacity as Executive Director for Champions for Nature Conservation, we will begin to work with the NCD whenever we are about to develop projects and programs so that we can take their need into consideration. The UN Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities and Sustainable Development Goals call for inclusive and equitable approaches. Liberia's climate response must reflect these commitments. Persons with disabilities are not simply victims of climate change. They are agents of change. You have ideas, resilience, lived experience that can strengthen our national resilience. So today, as we conclude this discussion on climate change, specifically regarding how PWDs can be included in our climate and conservation projects, we'd like to conclude with saying that a climate resilient Liberia cannot be built if persons with disabilities are excluded. I think we all should be able to consider that. Inclusion into climate and environmental activities for PWDs should not be seen as a charity. It is justice, and justice is the foundation of sustainable development. I hope that from here, all of us, those of us that are here from other organizations doing our planning, will begin to accommodate PWDs in our project development. Then it will be easy when we are about to implement. Thank you very much again. My name is Moses Massa, and the Executive Director for Champions for Nature Conservation Liberia. My numbers are, if you want to contact me, my numbers is 0774 144 090. That is also our WhatsApp number. 0774 144 090. it's also a master number. So thank you very much. NCD, thank you very much for organizing. Hope to visit you soon as we carry on our program. Thank you.
Thank you so much to our panelists for having a very rewarding discussions with us, Mr. Moses Master, the Executive Director of Chapter Conservation Liberia, Representative of the UNDP, and of course Mr. Zed, the National Coordinator of
since this morning. We gave the International Day of Persons with Disabilities dialogue here at the EJ Student Complex. And Moses Gazi will have been here since this morning as the host of this dialogue. So thank you for following. We will be taking this break. I think is taking this break for another session. So thank you for following. Thank you for always being there and listening. And this is how we say bye bye for now.
That if anything happens against us and we decide taking our case to court or police station, they will be ahead to. So I want to know, for this alone, you think we should have the confidence and believe that it can happen as person with disability?
I don't know the question.
I said, you are saying something in favor of all of us as person with disability. Okay, granted. Is it if we will take our case to the court, we can. Okay,
so I want to talk about the current policy. The current policy is that, thank you, all government entities should employ disabled people. I've said the office of the ombudsman has not employed anybody for your community, and that is wrong. So I also indicated if you never sue a government entity that not follow that rule, you must sue the office of the ombudsman firstly, because they should be championing the law on disability. They should take affirmative action. If we are not employing anybody for your community, that is not actually in line with the law. We should stop that. We should make an attempt to ensure that we can employ you or work with you. Go ahead.
So, my name is Amara George. My question has to do with free education, where the education is to be special for a person with disability. What do I have to say there? Special school, or you talking about inclusive school where a person with disability will go.
All of that. I'm talking about school that will be designed to be able to accommodate you. It can be the current school to include them. It can be specialized school to meet your needs. Because some of the disabled people may not be able to easily access places. The law is make the place accessible. Make the schools to be accessible that disabled people can use. Design special schools that disabled people can use. Where we get money from? We are saying the new law that the government must set aside only 2% of the national income only for disability. So if that money set aside, if that law will be passed today, then we will have, let's see, it's not a calculate. Today our budget is I think $1.2 billion. Can anybody calculate 2% of that? Can anybody calculate what 2% of that money will be able to the law? So I think I can do later. Calculate 1.2 billion. How much will be? It will be 6 million, 8 million. Yes, so as soon as you calculate that, there are millions of dollars that are already being used for the table. And then you will build a school. I will talk about it. That's the source of income I'm talking about. the current law is on paper. We are not employing president. The government has not taken the bold step to ensure that the percentage in the disability law is obeyed. How do you do that? This law is seeking to enhance that and say if you fail to do that, it is not going to sue you to pay fine. In our law, you don't have fine. So the disabled went to a government ministry and they asked the HR, we asked our friends here and said no, and they sued that particular agency, the agency is to pay the law and they have to pay fine. So the law got fine. The other law did not have fine. So we found this law is seen to force the government agency to implement that. Thank you.
All right. My name is James Gibler. I have been contemplating a lot of things. I have questions. Yeah, I have questions and you have answered one. Now, this is not the question. I'm trying to add to what is written. All right? Because we found that there are a lot of people who are suffering in this country. So I think what government needs to do is to have financial assistance to be added to this. Many of people live in an up interior. They don't have access to even know the government is dealing with. They don't even know the superintendent of commissioners. They live there, but then you have a financial assistance given to you at monthly. You receive, you'll be able to help you and your family. Thank you.
So, thank you. So there's a clear company in the law that talk about financial assistance. Who is drafter? Or said, there's a proposal that to take into consideration a provision that will become financial assistance. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. The country coordinator of the National Union of Public So thank you so much. Our attention is centralization. Time to all the benefits of persons living with disability centralized. Bill, sound language, and all these are lacking in rural counties. So if the law shall be passed, will the policy be decentralized?
So there's a proposal that talk about inclusivity of the law. They are going to say most of the activity can only happen in Monrovia. So the law should be delivered to say the activity should be nationwide. The better please know that the law should be delivered to say the activities of the law should be nationwide and should not be in Monrovia. Thank you.
Okay, my name is Austin Moa Bayo. I'm representing the party. The proposed law. As I think stakeholder of the community, they should have an input of community. We are just hearing this time, and we are hearing so who are those that the community stakeholders
Thank you. So the proposal is the draft law need to be shared again. Please note, share the law because it's a draft law and there are nothing submitted here with the other who are not in the room today so that they can read and input into the law. Thank you very much for participating.
Mentor of fathers known as William Sedley has talked about the bosses. He has discussed about the bosses, alright, the new bosses coming from Nigeria. Okay, so he said one time a father told her that the boss director, alright, the lady that is there now, she wants to be part, but now she has died. Alright, she wanted to be a part of the boss community, but she passed away. So now the problem here is with the deaf people. For us as deaf people, we want to do work that in those agencies and what have you. But will it be easy, you think, for us as deaf people? Because the people can't hear us, we can't communicate with them. When we go there, they put us aside and they can't understand our language. So you see, so that's the problem. What do we do to solve that problem? We need someone that will be there as our representative, a person that will discuss all of our issues when it comes to people with hard of hearing or hearing impairment. You see, but now the lady that was there, she has died, and nobody is there now. So what do we do?
Thank you very much. Article 1 is something that Sam is supposed to do. Sam find a way to replace the staff who was at the National Transit Authority. Either I was there to tell them, say, our staff that were here has passed. Please replace that staff with some of our members. I think like it has got to be over one person. Because the bosses, I'm told that the bosses of people will tell the bosses. So if Sam is writing, if Sam is here, please write the NTA people to ensure that they can have people on the bus who will be able to speak sign language. That we are coming with our brothers and sisters that can only speak sign language. I think Sam and people can do that. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon to all. I want to say a big thank you to you for discussing this today. I am very pleased to hear from you. My name is Benjamin Emerson. I'm a deaf person. I have a deaf school, but I suffer a lot. You see, one time I go to Samuel Dean, alright, the director, to help me, but he has never visited my school before. This is why I continue to suffer in my school. I have students. You see, for each time I write a commission on national disability, he doesn't pay me any attention. So we have to be careful as deaf people. This is a very big problem that we have. Because we as deaf people, we need to be focused on. You see, that's what I have to say.
Benjamin, thank you. Sam and your people, please review the letter that was sent to you by Benjamin and his school. Benjamin runs a school and he needs a conversation with the Disabled Commission. Sam, please make sure you find time to find a letter. Benjamin, if your letter has been open, please send a letter there again. Send a letter again. When you send a letter there again, to Sam, you can come to my office and tell me, please send a letter. Alright? Sam will be able to reply to your letter. Rather than Sam and team, please make sure you try to get the act with your coding and your school. Because you don't know what they have to tell you. Just listen to them. You can find a solution for them. Thank you very much, Benjamin.
Thank you for giving me the opportunity. My name is Samuel King, the coordinator from the group of so my attention has been to the issue of another bill to the people. When you already have an act that created the Commission on Disability, right? Where we talk about special election, there are provisions which since 2005 to current, that bill, there are provisions in that bill have not taken effect. And we as persons with disability continue to suffer like this. And we have seen another bill to be put forward. How confident are we that yes, indeed, this other bill with what has already been made on board
and implement itself. When they say you get it right, you got to fight for that road. Anybody say you get it right, break it down easily. So, for example, Benjamin came here, he said he had written a letter. He wants for his organization to listen to him. He's fighting for his right. When a law is done, all the things that are people think, to implement that you the one that make it implemented. So if the law says they must send 2% to your account for disability fund, equity fund, you gotta pay for you. When they do a national budget, you gotta make sure they got a budget that says, look, if money is not there, we need it to be there. If they mean that you go to the legislature and have meeting with them, you will stay to the door and say, until they're happy. All the provisions of the current law have not been implemented. There are many reasons why. One, the government may not have the money. Two, you will not advocate well for them. If you do not fight for them, you will not get them. The if we want to say, let's start from the national legislature to ensure that they will employ our people, and you go to the speaker and go to the protest and ask them, say, we want our people to be employed. People are qualified. Please interview and employ them. You know, listen to you. When you give me 40 and we are saying, I have you. All of you working together as a team and fighting for your right, they will listen to you. So that's the law will be. The law does not cancel the whole law. The law only builds upon what you have done yesterday, what you have now. The law is seeking to have penalty in it. That when the government fails, they will hold the government responsible for not implementing them. There is an advancement of the law. It's not in the other law in terms of failure. So you just said, we're proper right. Thank you very much.
Secretary General of the National Association one thing that you have failed to have is our governance enforcement. We are going to have an agreement discovery enforcement. We're serious to have best enforcement at the local level. Well, this community disability, where existing law that's being enforced, we really have mechanism in place. We really have the same mechanism in place to implement just the people like
Thank you. The procedure for implementing them, the mechanism, is right. We have plenty of laws on our board that we do implement. But I will tell you, for a law to be implemented, those who the law for, they have those rights, the same as I said. At the local level, the superintendent, you can either have the superintendent state, here's what the law says. For example, let's talk about an issue like unemployment. If the county are not employing all the people, you can tell the superintendent, or the superintendent will tell the Ministry of Internal Affairs, they don't employ you. You can advocate for your right. Go to the superintendent. They have law with the superintendent. If you do not have that redress, you can go to the legislature. If they're not listening to you, you can go to the president. Of course, you have to fight for your right. When you fight for that right, and one person employed that's still in the office, always they will have somebody employed in that office. So, for the law to be implemented, even though the mechanism will be in the law, but the actual implementation is left with how you work together. How you hold the government accountable that the government will implement the law. You can work with the international community as well to help to advocate for you. They will advocate and tell them, say, if you are going to get money to the government, put in your condition that they should be deliberate to work with disabled people. There are many ways you can lobby. You can do that in the international community by allowing the international community to lobby for you so that certain things is done to protect your right. Those are not going to be wrong. You can lobby with lawmakers. You can lobby with people in your community, pastors and imams, so that they can go in the pulpit and be talking about how the disabled people need to actually be restarted. We have to respect them. We have to make sure laws are enforced. It takes a lot of work. You got to plan your strategy. You You got to implement your scholarship, but you got to be sure you want the law to be implemented. And so it's a tough thing to do, but you can do it. You can do it if you plan to do it and to work together as a community. That's what I have today. And I say I wish you well in the dialogue, and the points that you have made will be taken into consideration, and they will be included in the draft, and you have now got to support that draft and validate it. Thank you very much, and I wish you well in the dialogue. I'm sorry. I thought you were there. Were you in the
My name is Benjamin Clapp. Okay, thank you very much for your presentation. It went point by point, and it was very interesting to hear. Alright, for us as people with disabilities or with a disabled community, there are times we see things happening out there, but we are not beneficiaries to those things. What becomes of us? All of the laws you have said will come forth and be added upon. What do we do as disabled people? Like the street, the parent mentioned about falling in the road today. Suppose a visually impaired person falls in the road. What becomes of it? Of him? You see, those are laws that are there, but we are not doing it. So what do we do?
Thank you. Your representative said anything that the Civil Commission is your advocacy place. The job for that commission is that to always find new problems and find solutions. If it happens to you that you not like, you should hold that leadership firstly accountable to advocate for you. And your first line, make sure you hold that leadership for you put fire on their feet so that they are walking to the places you want them to go, to open the doors. If you stay behind that leadership, some of the things that are affecting you may be minimized. If you do not stay behind leadership, if you do not support yourself, some of the things that are affecting you will get worse. When the people work together, they are very powerful. All the person I have, for example, if you want to say, I say, Sam, there is a generation area that does not have a tap on it, and one person will put a tap there. All the people they want to send. And Sam said, let's go to the Ministry of Public Works. And you're brought to the Ministry of Public Works. And you're sent out to the Ministry of Public Works, oh, he will say something. He has got to say something. But if you do not work, like I said earlier, it may not happen. You don't just talk and you don't take action. It's now time to take action. This country we will take action. We have been talking too much. If we got one right, for our right to be, we'll be able to stand up for the right. I'm not saying do the wrong thing. Standing up for the right does that mean you are going to spoil the car that the government just gave me. The government gave me one car out there. Is the government car enough for me? But I said stand up for the right. When you spoil that car, then that money that will be used for other things will pay the president for another car. And they will not be good. Standing up for the right is to stand up for the right for good things. You go to Sam, you tell Sam to get up, you tell Sam to walk to a municipal place, you want something to happen. Let's try it. You want to try by going to the legislature to employ some of your people? If not there, let's try it. Just get up and go to the legislature. And ask them, why is it not employer? We voted for all of you. We stood the line for you. And they will talk to you. And you try to let you get results. We will not sit, you should not sit and be trying your little corner. Work as a group, and some of the things that you will not have, you will have them. Thank you very much. And again, I wish you well in the dialogue. And let's work together. Bye.
So that was the voice of Councillor Finlay Kanga speaking to us year at the International Day of Persons with Disabilities Dialogue here at the EJS Ministerial Complex. So thank you for following, being here. So thank you. My name is Sam Kato. Thank you for following.
This is going to be the last session.
Thank you for following.
Which has to do with economic empowerment and employability of persons with disabilities. And for that section, we'll have the bed here. Thank you. Let's have one. Let's an honor to be a part of these different events. And I'm glad to share my own experience with others today. Thank you very much. Thank you so much. Let's take you, Mr. Jesse Henry.
Yes.